What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P, Marky D, 2 days, 2 episodes, 2 lives. Here we go. Marky D, how are you going after the Steelers' hard-fought victory over the Tennesse Titans? Thursday night football. Victory Friday in the US, victory Saturday for us.
This on?
Yeah.
It's ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic. Like 100%. If you're not feeling good about this win, I don't know what to tell you. I feel awesome. Holcomb goes down. We'll talk about that in a minute. And there was no Minka. Kenny Pickett, fourth quarter comeback. I feel absolutely ecstatic. Like, honest to goodness, as a Steelers fan, and I say fan because some out there are a bit like, oh, what's going on? Am I a fan? Am I an analyst right now? Steelers fan that sits back and has a beer, eats pizza, and watches the game. Man, I feel pretty good.
Man, I made fried chicken in the halftime.
Yeah.
I bought ribs. I bought ribs in the morning, but I realized that I didn't put them on early. I was not going to be putting them on early enough. I was going to try and do a fast cook on them, but I still needed a couple of hours. So anyway, I cooked myself fried chicken, which was not really nice because, I can't just go and buy fried chicken with my food allergy. But I have to say, man, I'm a little bit upset, unlike you. But I'm not upset for why everyone thinks I'm upset. I'm not upset at the Steelers. I'm upset for Cole Holcomb, dude. Cole Holcomb out for the year. That really sucks to me. What a Steeler, man. He had made a name for himself. He's come in. I called him on a few takeaway shows ago. I said, could he be showing signs of being a Farrier type acquisition? And then to see him out, I think that sucks for him, man.
He was playing good football. I did a show on today talking about his injury, and he had 40-something tackles already. He's playing Steelers football, and also everyone complains. Steelers fans complain about everything, but they weren't complaining about middle linebacker. So, and that was the one thing now that is going to be a hole in the defense. And yeah, Cole Holcomb, it must have hurt, by the way, too. Go back to being like a player or a human. Twisting your knee like that, it would have hurt. You're going to go to hospital. Hospitals suck. He's probably just getting out now. Probably can't stand up and pee. All those kind of things, man. It sucks. Like the guy's a good player. You didn't hear too much negative things about him on the team. He was a leader so far in the 9 weeks, and it would have been fun to see him the whole season. Unfortunately, now we just got to send our prayers, and then we have to wait to see what happens next year. But yeah, him being out is a big miss. And also, they won the game because Minka was out too. So this win it's a good win. And also, Quan Alexander and Roberts are now dedicating the season to him. Have you heard that?
I bet.
In a press conference, they said, we're going to win for that. And Roberts, too, was talking about DK.
And how good is that from three players are all new Steelers?
Yeah.
And they already have that culture. Like, when I talk about the culture, like.
And they're fighting for one another. But also, Roberts talked about how they're going to stop, Henry. And Roberts said that, well, I'm a 5-star talent as well. I'm a talent because Tomlin's been teaching them all. Everyone hates Tomlin, but Tomlin loves the locker room. And he's been saying to him, be a talent out there. Like, you're a talent too. You're a first-round talent or something like that, he says. I don't know what he said exactly. I'm stuffing it up. Anyways, they're fired up to go. They're fired up to go hit someone, right? They are. They're definitely fired up to hit someone. And Roberts was saying, well, I can take on Henry. You talked about last week, right? We always give the other team raps and how good they are. Look how good the Steelers are. Roberts smacked him around too. Keanu Benton was smacking him around as well. So
Keanu Benton had a good game. Even the commentators were saying what he can do on that line. What about that play where he's running through 2 or 3 guys to get to Levis, just charging down the middle?
Yeah.
Man, he was like
that. But huge. You talked about, I think 2 weeks ago, you said that I always bring up the other team and how good they play football players. They're out there too. You're like, well, what about us being football players with TJ Watt? The Tennesse Titans.
Alex Highsmith, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss.
You got 2 sacks? I didn't even know that. There you go.
Well, according to ESPN stat sheet, he did.
Yeah. There's folks out there that are called Tennesse Titans Down Under, right? Or Touchdown Under, and they are talking about how crazy TJ Watt is and that kind of stuff. They're talking about how good...
We should have done a show with them. That was a mistake.
No, I don't know if there is or not. But
oh, okay. He said there is.
If there is one, there might be Tennesse Titan Up Down Under. I don't know. Hang on. Tighten Up Down Under. That'd be pretty good, actually. But yeah,
that's probably more a plastic surgery podcast.
Tighten Up Down Under?
That's the post-pregnancy procedure.
Oh my! I wouldn't have thought that in a million years, like an actual million years, and one more extra. I wouldn't have thought of that.
It's like I
All
used
right.
to back when we used to do the audio shows. I
Oh.
used to drop when you said tight end. I used to drop these like innuendo things about a tight end, and you'd never. It used to
I
just go
still
over your
thought
head.
you were talking about Travis Kelsey's missus. She'd be a bit. Anyways.
Anyway, we're not going there. We're a family-friendly podcast, even though we don't click for kids. I loved your rant on that by the other day. I had some.
Wait. My mind went, no, stuff that. Okay, go on. That's all I got.
It's funny because I told my wife the story, and she was like 100%, Mark. I'm on 100% with you. Like, it's parents need to parent there. All right, let's get back to Steelers. You and I could go on a tangent on that for half now. I talked about something on a takeaway show, and then you and I talked about it on a Mad Monday 2 or 3 weeks ago, where it was 6 out of, I think it was the Houston Texans game, but 6 out of 7 drives were punts. One of them was and one of them, and 2 of them were field goals, right, to end the first half. This week, this is how it went in the first half. Remember, both teams ran the ball, big defenses, lots of penalties, so there weren't as many drives from each team in terms of the number of drives. The drives went for longer. So this is the Steelers' first 4 drives in the first half. Touchdown, punt, force. Then they on defense they forced a punt from the Titans. They punted again. They conceded a touchdown. They came back with a field goal, and then Titans had a field goal. Now the Titans were in the break 13-10. But the Steelers scored, and I can't believe, in some ways we shouldn't be loving this, but it was half of their 20 points. They scored 10 points in the first half. They scored in two quarters consecutively, and they started the game with a touchdown. And really, if they hadn't have had those 5 defensive penalties on that drive, they would have had at least one other offensive drive in the first half, and I reckon they would have been up 13-10. They might have been up because they obviously conceded a field goal on that drive that went for 7 minutes because of the 5 penalties. They could have been up 13-10. They could have even been up 17-10. So and maybe even more if the Titans hadn't gotten a rhythm. So coming out of this game, I think the scoreline flattered the Titans to a large degree. And I know there's going to be some smart people, and I don't think it's actually that smart, saying, oh, well, Kenny Pickett missed these throws, so of course it was a closer game. But to me, the win, and people talk about Canada and so on or whatever, I really don't care about that part. What I care about is the Steelers came out in the first half and actually looked like a team that could play offense.
They did. Mate, the first TD this year at the first 9 games with the first drive got a TD, looked like a good team, and they were being creative.
Mate, I reckon that'd be. I need to go back and find the stat. I reckon that'd be the first time in like 30-something games, or the first, in the last 55, 60 games or whatever it is. I think that's the first time we've done that. Apart from the Highsmith defense one. Oh, no, that was a penalty. No, that was an interception. He didn't score off that. So, have
you seen the other stat out there? I want to hear your comments on this. That stat about the Steelers have in the first 8 games, we have since 1930. We're the only team to have a winning record in the first 8 games. We have less points, less drives, less yards. You heard that one?
I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, so it's like we have the first team to have, I think, in eight consecutive games, versing both sides, less first downs, less points, and I think not more points, less yards or something like that. Like 3 big stats, and the Steelers got a winning record. And I come back to this like, you know what? I kind of think throw all the stats at the window. Throw the QBR at the window. The Steelers won the game, and Kenny Pickett showed up near the end when it counted and won the game.
Do you know what I kind of feel as well? If you and I, you and I have got a mate out there, Britsburg Owen, right, who does some soccer podcasts, right?
He does.
Now, soccer can be very analytical, but at the end of the day, soccer, you do a bunch of passes, you do a bunch of tackles, and you just score goals, right? That's all it is. You can sit there for an hour talking about, oh, this person doesn't play, pass it to this person, right, or all the rest of it. But in the day, what's the score sheet? Who won the freaking game, right? And that's a sport where you can draw the game. In this sport, I just feel sometimes as fans, we sit there and we overanalyze.
I'm getting sick of it.
And I know you talked about it. It goes back to wanting to be a kid and just enjoying mid-2000s football. If you lose the
Yeah.
game, you go and punch it out on Madden for an hour. You feel good about it. You wake up and you go again. Yeah, we're not talking bad about soccer anymore, everyone. But so that's my only thing about that is like, yeah, it's funny those stats, but also what does that tell you? The Steelers are 5-3 right now. 5-3. We have a 17-game season. We have 5-3. We have 11 games to go. The Steelers only have to win half of their games to be double-digit wins. Honestly, I don't know. I don't understand what people want. The Steelers right now will finish with a record if they doubled what they have right now of 11-6 or 10-7, and we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think it comes back to like the analytical stuff does get a bit frustrating, and it can paint a certain picture. And I did see that someone, one of the YouTube channels out there was like, we feel like an uneasy 5-3. The Steelers, well, they can always get better, and they're 5-3, and I think they're playing. Yet last night was, I think, I think the Rams to me was a kind of a fool game, but last night it was. It's like I think you called it yesterday. Didn't you say that they were going to go at the start? They're going to start early, get a TD, and then the middle bit would be weird, and then you end it with that. Didn't you say that?
Yeah.
Didn't you say the exact same thing? Like they'll score a TD, middle bit be like, oh, what's going on? And then the fourth part they'll win.
And then you know what I also called? I was going nuts. Hey, the BBC podcast. I almost called the touchdown to Allen Robinson when he was in the red zone, and he just missed that. When he was too late on that catch, like he was too to the ground, and he couldn't make that catch in the end zone. Remember, I said he would catch like one pass in the game for like 7 or 8 yards, and it would be a touchdown, and then it almost happened.
And also, I think Robinson made a really key play at the 3rd and 6 when the Steelers going down there, and we were
like, for the first, when he had one, because he finished with one pass. 2 targets, 10 yards.
So doesn't that big pass there to Robinson, outweigh some of the Pickett's, bad throws where he did miss people? Do you know what I mean? I think this is the topic this week's going to be Canada's good on the sideline. He's 1-0 now, and now it's all the attention is going to be on Kenny Pickett, right? Actually, I think it made a difference to a certain degree. It looked better out there, but now
as they said, and anyone with that narrative is wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because Kenny Pickett said after the game, that doesn't change his and Canada's communication. He's mic'd up directly to Canada. What it affects is Canada's ability to talk to the other position groups, and the other position groups to feed into Canada what they're seeing on the field, which is exactly what you and I talked about in the preview show that we did before the game. Is I said that it's very hard for people to give Canada feedback without him, when he's up there in the booth. It's very hard for Canada to be able to fully communicate with the offense and get the offense together. That is literally what I said in the preview. That is literally what Kenny Pickett said in the post-match interview. Doesn't make me smart. But my point is that you can't sit there and say suddenly Canada on the sideline's great, Kenny Pickett shit, because that's not what the narrative is.
Why can't you say that's what I've heard this morning?
You can say whatever you like, but if you say that, you're an idiot.
It is. But even to a certain degree, with his accuracy, he missed a few passes here and there. But I like the DJ one down the sideline. I like the pass to Pickens. Pickens, Tony toe taps his toe.
I just love Pickett to Pickens.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about overall? Kenny had a game, right? Are you too worried about his inaccuracy? Is it a word? Inaccuracies? I don't know.
Nope.
You're not too worried about that? I'm not too worried either.
Nope. I'm like, what I don't understand is the emphasis on the inaccuracies, because you know what I found funny in the narrative since DJ's been back is Kenny Pickett's inaccurate. Mm-hmm. But Deontay has the dropsies still. Like I've resigned myself to the fact that Deontay is going to drop passes he should catch. There's no one, I feel like no one's talked about last week where Deontay, I don't want to slam Deontay because I actually thought he came out and had a really good game. Deontay dropped a ball in the end zone last week on a slant that he should have freaking caught. There was a pass in this game where Kenny Pickett went a little bit high to him. There are other passes, other couple of misses where I thought DJ could have done more to get the ball. But then there's also risk reward in doing that. We saw that last year in the Jets game where Pat Freemuth went to get the ball that he should have let go out, and it was an interception. So everything's been equal. But I was pretty sure that Kenny Pickett finished with 19 out of 30 passes. Yeah.
160 and 1 TD,
Right.
which is not the best
That's-
game, but it's not the worst game either.
That's 63%.
Yeah.
People don't remember. I think Ben's career percentage average was 65.6% or something like that. I don't understand what the issue is. We're just watching Big Ben year 2. Like, obviously, he doesn't do things that Big Ben can do. But people have a very short-term memory about what this stuff looks like. The kid has literally played like 18 games of football, and really it's like 16 or something because of the games that he's ended up injured and had to leave very early on in like 2 or 3 games. So I don't understand this narrative of everything's such a drama all the time. Like,
yeah, man, 100%.
Just be happy with it. Let the team evolve. Seasons develop. We're 9 weeks in to an 18-week season.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you, Jennifer, and I hope that lifted the spirits for you guys as well. Really hope that lifted the spirits. Definitely thinking of you there. Yeah, but I just looked up Big Ben's percentage. Big Ben, 64.4%.
64.
He had a career high of 68% one season, 2 years of 67s, and then the majority of his career was 64.5% or less. I think Kenny Pickett's, off the top of my head, we'll see, bit of trivia for Matty. I think he's 63.2. But let me see if it's in there, and it might. I don't know if it's going to have. There you go. He's 62.4%.
What? Okay,
2% difference, and we're talking in the 60s. Like,
the thing I find an issue with this whole Kenny Pickett thing about the whole narrative about him being a bad quarterback, like, right? If he doesn't win, he's doomed. If he isn't, like, he's doomed anyway, right? Because if he doesn't win the game last night, they don't like him. He wins the game last night, they don't like him. So what are you meant to do?
Well, but also, what would you rather? Would you rather him throw 4 touchdowns 1 week, win a game, go out the next week, lose a tight game? No, that's what Will Levis did. Kenny Pickett came out and won the game.
Exactly right. You know,
off a short turnaround. I don't think he's ever done that short a turnaround before.
Ribs
and off the ribs.
Ribs are hurt. You know,
I want to talk to you about, you know, moving on from that narrative, because like everyone will talk about that narrative. Not that it's wrong. I just want to talk about some other sort of stuff, because, you know, you and I, we get bogged down in the Canada thing. Offensive line. Did you find it funny that Broderick played right tackle, not left tackle, and they kept Dan Moore where he was? At the first part, when I saw that, I was frustrated because I had said trade Okorafor, because some teams really actually quite like what Okorafor was doing. Trade him to the Patriots, bring in David Andrews, their really good center, shore up the offensive line overall. I do think it's very helpful to have 3 tackles in case of injuries. But what did you think of the whole Broderick on the right coming in there rather than the left? What does that mean? Like, I don't think that means that he's going to be a right tackle the rest of his career. I think people need to get realistic on that. I think they're finding a way to give him experience. But how did you feel generally about the line with that?
First,
scenario?
I just want to say, like, Chuks Okorafor, I'll tell you what, he's the one Steeler I know nothing about, because I never hear any like stories about him. You know what I'm saying? I know he plays right tackle and he gets picked on a few times.
He was brought in. He was seen as a left tackle. So he was seen as a future of the Steelers at a left tackle that they were going to groom for a couple of years. And that's when he spent the time on the practice squad. And they brought him in to play left. And then who was it that who was the other guy that we had there before? He wasn't working as much as left, but who was the guy that we had before Dan Moore the year before?
Zach Banner?
Yeah, well, Banner went injured. Okorafor had to shift over, and then the next year they drafted Dan Moore. But Dan Moore is projected as a guard at the next level anyway.
Here's my point, though. What I'm trying to say, right? And I don't want the fan base to go after Chuks Okorafor because they're going to say he's the worst one, he sucks, he's terrible, whatever, right? But here's my point.
Why does everyone always have to? Sorry, but for 1 sec. I don't understand why everyone has to suck. like someone. It's not this guy can be better than everyone else. It's just got to be that guy sucks. That guy sucks more than this guy. Anyway, sorry.
Right. So here's my point. Okay, so I'm one bloke that don't know, that doesn't know much about the O-line, right? Because it's hard to watch all the time. I'm not an O-line guy, but like you watch the Jones out there, it's fantastic, okay? But choose core for, and I'm looking this up right now. He's been there since 2018. He's played 71 games and he started 59 times. Right. So there must be something good about him to play that long at that position, because we just kind of every time we did like the offseason stuff, you always go, oh, Chooks would be there, Chooks would be there, Chooks would be there. Do you know what I mean? He's always been there. So, but if the improve, I did see actually the O-line improve with Jones in there. He came back on the he moved from one side to the other, block guys, and was playing pretty good.
Oh, mate, the agility. There was one run play where he moved from right tackle to basically between the left guard and the left
I thought he was left tackle. I was like, what's he doing over there? And he was near Dan Moore. So I think it's a good move. I actually think now the Steelers will go with Jones at that spot, and then Chooks will be back up. But you know what? Shout out to Chooks, man, because you never really see him in interviews. You never really see him anywhere else. And I don't think you get too many positive or you get too many negative websites, or articles written about him. But he's been playing for the Steelers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Now you got a veteran behind.
And stats last year, he was one of the better right tackles in the league. If you actually look at sacks let up and pressures and stuff.
And people don't talk about him because he doesn't make too many errors here and there. He just turns up, does his craft. It reminds me a bit like, Big Al. Big Al played all those snaps, and no one really talked about Big Al on one side being
I love tackle. Big Al. One of my favorites.
Yeah, he played the left tackle for 4 years in a row. He never missed a snap. And so I don't want to see the fan base go after Chooks and be like, oh, he's the worst one. He sucks, and you have to play Jones. No, they're just playing Jones because they've made a decision for the personnel to be that way. And I think there was some story that he said something that got his job cut. I think there's more to it. The organization knows more than us, and they're a more tight-knit group than we are. If the organization acted like as fans like we did, it would be in
it'd be a shit show.
Yeah, it'd be despair.
Do you know what? If just hear about this a few years back again, I don't know why I'm talking about soccer today. Do you know in the lower tiers of the English football, how there's like 4 or 5 tiers of professional leagues of football? A big group bought a club, and then they farmed it out to the fans to make decisions each week. So fans would vote on the lineup each month.
Oh, please.
I'm deadly serious, right? They'd vote on the lineup this week, players to be re-signed, all the rest of it. It doesn't work.
Well, here's another narrative I want to kind of clear up too.
Yeah, Jennifer brings this up, but they are paying him less than what it would have cost to bring in another decent tackle at the time. But it is cost prohibitive to move him last year. It's not so great this year, but actually this off season they can move him quite easily, and I actually think they will, to be honest.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this other narrative about the Najee Harris versus Warren? Because Warren came into the game within 3 snaps. I don't care who starts. It's going to be Najee, then Warren, and they're still talking about it, saying you want to have Warren start, but they both play.
No, you don't. You don't want Warren to start. You want Najee to tire out the big linebackers of the other team and to create mismatches, and then you want to bring Warren in when the line's got some cohesion. I don't.
Even so, though, like yesterday, I'm pretty sure the 3rd snap we saw Warren in there at the halfback when they was in shotgun. So this whole narrative about like you got to start Warren.
But you and I talked about that too with starts before, with cornerbacks and stuff, when they don't start. When a rookie starts, I'm like, yeah, that's because they played a certain scheme. Like it doesn't mean anything.
I think actually the way Najee played yesterday was really good. Like I think he's playing good football, and also the O-line was just like we didn't hear about Mason Cole. They all bounced back. James Daniels, Marlowe had a great game too. On the
I'm not sure that I think Cole snapped the ball better. I go watch the tape again.
Maybe he's just doing it to Mitch because he doesn't like Mitch. Just throwing real low to Mitch.
Mate, he's got a good relationship with Kenny. You never know. I'm not sold on. I'm not sure Cole can repair the damage that that he's done with me in terms of what his capability is. But that's all right. You can't look. At the end of the day, in a team that's rebuilding like this, and that's the other thing that I think the negative fans out there have got to realize. Like, yeah, and he is still snapping low. You're right, Gene. Like, not every player is going to be perfect in a rebuilding team. It's just not. Like, the Steelers were never going to win the
rebuilding
team.
I like it. I like it because you know who's rebuilding? The Panthers, the Cardinals. The Giants have been rebuilding for the last 50 years. Like, no, not really. But the Giants are playing bad. If this is a rebuilding team, I'm pretty happy with it.
But even the Chiefs are rebuilding. The Chiefs aren't a
Yeah,
good
they've been
team. The Chiefs
yeah,
have some of the best quarterback in the league, one of the better tight ends, one of the best young cornerbacks. They've got one of the best linebackers, Nick Bolton, who was out against Denver. Like, you know, they're not the best team. They win because they've got a Hall of Fame quarterback. There's only a certain number of teams that can have a Hall of Fame quarterback active playing right now. So I don't really, I want to go back to that narrative though, the 5-3. We're 5-3. We've got 11 games to go. We only have to win 5 to get to double digits. We would have been ecstatic to be in this position last year. What were we at this point in the year? Well, at this point in the year, weren't we like 2-6? I think we're 2-6.
Something like that. 2-6, and it was awful. We're just like,
so we changed that to 5-3.
Yeah, that's right. 2-6, then we had the bye this time.
Yeah,
must have been this time,
right? And now we're 5-3. I mean,
and people sound worse.
And we've got this long week to recover ahead of the Packers that are all over the place.
The fan base sounds worse than last year.
But it's amazing. The hyperbole is like the hyperbole is
Hyperboles. That sounds like a team, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Houston Hyperboles. The Packers are right. The Packers coming up. Easy win.
And they're sitting there. They're in turmoil. Did you hear what their GM said? They're like, we're going to let the next set of games decide whether Jordan Love is our quarterback for the future.
Really? That's a lot of pressure.
That don't sound good to me.
Why would you say that? And they always could say that Tomlin didn't say anything. That's why Tomlin didn't say anything. God. Why would you say that to your team?
Why would you say that to Jordan Love? And Jordan Love's sitting there going, hang on. I was drafted to be ready to go within 2 seasons. You took over 3.5 to get to me. Like,
he should just tank and then ask for a trade.
Well, before we got Pickett, I wanted Love. I think Jennifer even and I.
Who doesn't want love, mate? We all want love, mate. Sometimes you just don't get it. You know what I mean? This team needs love, by the way. This fan base needs to. I said yesterday, grab a terrible towel, have a beer, and just say, "Here we go." Here we go.
Yeah, Jennifer hates the Packers because Jennifer.
Yeah, this wins for you.
I realized I hadn't responded. I saw it the other day. I thought I had from when the season started, and I said the Packers could be good this year with their defense. I've got their defense in fantasy, and Jennifer said, see, Jennifer, I remember. I've got a good memory. I said, and Jennifer said in the comments, I hope effing not, because I have a lot of family from Wisconsin, and I don't want to hear them win. So I remember that, Jennifer.
I imagine how smug they would be in old Packer land and Championship Town, Title Town, USA. Like, they would be up there for sure. So it must be hard living over there. That's one thing we don't really deal with, do we? We don't deal with, except on the coast where I
had a lot of mates, I had a lot of mates that NFL fans. In fact, my wife's cousin, the day before his wedding, he had a Jets jersey on because he's a Jets fan. And I wanted to yell at him and be like, the Jets effing suck. But it was the day before his wedding and I didn't want to be mean and he's a nice guy.
had to retain yourself. I had to hold that off there.
Yeah, that's it.
But we don't have that. Like, we go in the local shops and we walk into a store and it's like surrounded by these fans, right? So Jennifer's living in Wisconsin, which is Packer Nation. What do they call themselves?
I see a lot of Raiders, but you and I know that some of the brands.
Yeah, they don't follow the Raiders. They follow.
There's a guy around here that walks around with around my area that walks around with Seahawks stuff a lot, and I like that's quite funny.
I wonder if he's into him, if he's full into him, like with the whole, he knows about Geno Smith.
I told you about when I almost vomited on the 5-minute walk to the train station near my house, right? So I'm walking up and I see a guy in a Steelers t-shirt, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this guy's walking toward my house, which goes on a side track from the train station where it's the least populated part, right? So I'm thinking, man, there's a Steel fan that lives a few streets around me. Like, that's really cool, right? And then as he's walking closer, I notice his hat. He was wearing a Cowboys hat.
Oh, one of those ones. The double. The double. You can't do a double.
Now, if he'd grown up at a certain time of football and I don't know how you could with the rivalry in the 70s and 80s, but like I looked at him and I looked him in the eye and I just went, I had a weird look. I just was like, no. And I just shook my head and kept walking. I was so disappointed. So disappointed.
It's the double, mate. You're wearing two teams. Who do you support? I knew a bloke once who supported the Chiefs and the Chargers.
I love that, Jennifer. I love that.
There you go. Yeah, 100%.
The Chiefs and the Chargers in the same division.
Both. I know. Don't tell me about it. Tell him. I'll get his number for you. Yeah, he supported both. I was like, how? It's like me supporting the Bengals and the Steelers in the same division. Oh, I wish the Bengals like, no way, dude. I hope they never win. Hope I go to my grave like 91 years old and they never won a championship. They're like 0-7.
Yeah, Jennifer talks about living 45 from Lambau. So Mark and I go for a team in the rugby league in Australia called the Manly Sea Eagles, and I live a 10-minute walk from one of their big rivals, which is quite funny. So my wife came from the Sharkies, Shark Park. So my wife lived down here. Didn't really support that team. So we made an agreement that we'd live in this area. Very lovely area. It's a very similar area, just on the other side of Sydney to the other area that has the other team. But yeah, we made an agreement that we would always live in this area because it's beautiful and it's good value. But we would remain Manly Sea Eagles supporters.
Imagine the Super Bowl for that bloke. His reactions would be just so hard to look at.
But he has the Chiefs and the Chargers, right? So he doesn't have
your mate, the guy at the train station.
Oh yeah, the train station. He's not my mate. He's not my mate.
He wouldn't know what to do. It'd be TD. He'd just be monotone the whole game. Oh, these are crazy fans, man. You got to support one team. Just choose one. I knew it. I knew he's in Brisbane. Jeddah was playing the cards. I live on the west coast. Yeah, the west coast of Perth.
Yeah, Brisbane, yeah. Seriously?
I don't know. Is he? You wouldn't look. He's here a lot, mate. I reckon he's either Australian or he travels to Australia every week. He knows that much about Australia. It's not even funny.
I thought he's always fits with our time zone. So
he's always first too. He's always first in the chat. So. Yeah, man. He's either Australian or he travels to Australia every week because he knows that much slang. It's not even funny.
Yeah, there you go. No. Like Mark, I said to Mark, it's so funny. Mark, with one of our recent shows, I said to him, do you want to go live at this time? And he's like, nah, yeah. And even I was looking at him. So you don't want to do it?
No, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, nah, but I don't really do nah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll go.
yeah, nah's okay, but nah, yeah is a bit like.
Yeah, I was going to say it then. Yeah, nah, you're right. So it is what it is. You move on, you push on. We have a very difficult language to understand, and J Devil knows what's going on. So
that's it, man.
Welcome to the show, J Devil. It could be Australian, it could not be. It's like the cat in the box. Is it dead or alive? You don't know. Is J Devil Australian? You don't know. Not until we hear his accent. I don't
know. So how are you feeling?
Good. Just kidding. All right.
There you go. Right, that's segment over. Well, no. Putting Green Bay aside, we've got then 2 away games, Cleveland and Cincy. Like they're away games. I mean, obviously you've got to go into an opposition stadium, but at least they're not that far away. Also, ESPN, I've just seen the headline. Grazanio, Steelers are good at nothing except winning the game. Well, if you're going to be good at something, that's probably the best thing to be good at.
That is the worst. What can you read the first sentence out of that line? What's the title again? The Steelers are what? They're good at nothing besides winning the game.
Grazanio said Steelers are good at nothing except winning the game. What does that even mean?
Oh my goodness. How do you even write a story about that?
He said it. No, he said it. It's a snippet from what he said on a show.
Oh, okay. Still though, that's pretty stupid.
It's pretty important. But see, this is a good example of the stupid narratives that are out there, right? Because
I saw it too.
There are a lot of good teams.
Oh my goodness.
That then you say that they're a good team, but they don't know how to win a game. I would rather be a team that's not playing, a team that is on the up and improving and has problems or things they need to work on and knowing how to win.
That's the cat. Sean Digger's Aussie. I love that. That's fantastic. Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, Tony's got a good question there. What does it mean? What does yeah? Okay. What does yeah, no even mean? Like, is in yeah, nah?
Yeah, nah is still yeah. It's like yeah, kind of.
It's so hard to explain.
Jez
eh?
right. Jez right. Go with what it ends with. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's actually not true because
it depends. It depends.
if Mark says to me, is the offense Matt Canada's fault? I might go, yeah, nah, which is more like, and then I'll qualify that with something. Like,
yeah,
nah,
exactly.
It's a little bit his fault, a little bit of missing passes
Yes.
in wide receiver. So it's like yeah, sort of, or yeah, kind of.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, it's
because
the
of
big
this.
thing is it's a
Yeah.
maybe, right? But a nah, but yeah, is like I kind of agree, but I'm not willing to fully commit, right? So
It's
like you might ask someone like, "Oh, do you want to take our relationships to the next level?" Nah, yeah. Like they kind of do you want to go on a date with me? Nah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
It's like we're trying to give the answer, but we want to have a few seconds to think about it. So we're like, nah, yeah, maybe I might turn up, and then you don't want to, so you don't turn up. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Exactly.
Oh man, is Matt Canada? Sorry, you go.
No, go.
I was gonna say, is the Matt Canada offense good? And you're like, yeah, nah, yeah, it is kind. It's like, nah, it's not good. You know?
Love it. All right. So before we wrap up the show, I want to just quickly, because we're both on a time crunch, but yeah. So we've got the 2 away games, Cleveland, Cincy. Then we've got the 2 home games. So 4 games, 2 away, 2 at home. It's 2 away in a row, 2 at home in a row. Putting Green Bay aside, how are you feeling about those 4 games? Because we've got Arizona and New England coming to us, which there's no such thing as a gimme game, and the Steelers drop plenty of gimme games. So, you would hope they win both those games. But how are you more feeling about a Wade or a Cleveland team that are 4-3 and Cincy are 4-3? Obviously, they've both got to play this week. They could both be 5-3. Wait, they're not playing each other. I just got to check that. I had it in my head that they're playing. Cleveland's playing Arizona. So how are you kind of feeling the next set of games goes? Because, and it feeds into the title of the Steelers got the run game going. Is this what is actually going to lead them to go on a run? Because I feel like this run game is all the difference. And that's the other thing that I think people can go, Kenny Pickett, only 1 touchdown, only 160 yards. But the run game's there, and the run game worked. The run game had 160 yards. 165
if they didn't run the ball, they complain why Kenny didn't throw it too much. It doesn't. You can never win. I feel pretty good, man, to be honest. I think they by bringing Jones in, it was a different spark, and the offensive line played good with Dan Moore too. And they seem to have they kept Kenny upright too, no sacks, and he escaped from a pocket, and they ran the ball better. And I think they're going to run the ball much better too. So going into Ohio next week versus Cleveland, Deshaun Watson
Ohio.
He's coming back too, Watson. First time we see the Bengals, which would be kind of key to see the matchup there. That'd be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, so who do they have this week? Or are they on the ball?
Bengals have the Bills versus the Bills. They've won 3 in a row, by the way, too. And the Browns have the Cardinals, who I think might be starting Kyler Murray as well. So he might be coming back too. But they're a 1-16.
I thought he was another week away.
It could be. I don't know. It might be. They might be going with Kyle. Is it Kyle Toon or someone? In Tune, out of Tune, Clayton Toon?
Clayton Toon.
Yeah,
that sounds like a weird name for a harmonica song.
Clayton Toon. I agree with what Sam says too. So, yeah, man, just keep playing football and keep what the articles say. Keep winning games. No, wait.
The Steelers are only good at winning. The only thing Steelers are good at winning games. I'll take that, man. I will 100% take that.
So, yeah, man, they're playing better football right now. Like the Jags game, that was a terrible loss, but they tried their hardest against the refs. The Rams game I really enjoyed, and last night I enjoyed because they won the game right near the end. And it's second year of Kenny. It's a rebuild. It looks like a rebuild. They're getting players. They lost some key players. I think they're doing okay to be 5-3. And also, if they go to the playoffs, they might have a chance to win. If TJ Watt's playing and Minka's playing and Cam's playing, always got a chance to win.
100%, man. And Minka, that's the thing. We literally swapped out all-pro defensive player in Minka for Cam.
Yes.
We have not had our full defense on the field.
Oh. And now we lose the big piece, Cole Holcomb as well. That's a really key piece in the middle linebacker spot. Shout out, we didn't talk about JPJ. JPJ played fantastic last night, shutting down
Didn't
Hopkins.
I preview that? I said that he and Hopkins would have a man-on-man. Like,
and he took it on and said, you know what, I'm gonna take on that guy. And where's the shout out to coaches for that? Like, they played good football. Levi Wallace played good in certain spots. Peterson played good in certain spots, but also they get burnt in spots too. But they're meant to. They're meant to get burnt. If you see a game where receivers don't get yards on the other side of the field, then you're watching soccer. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're meant to get burnt and get open because they're playing all-star receivers that are Hopkins and playing all-star running backs that are Derrick Henry. So they won the game and they played good enough football to win, and we should be happy around that point. I reckon anyway.
100%. 100%.
And then we've got the Packers, man. We've got 10 days off and versus Packers, and that should be a fun game too. The Steelers will be more, hopefully, healthier. At least the guys who I got some, injuries that they can come back from. And I think they'll have a good game plan to maybe you might see the Steelers win by 13 points, 14 points. They now know they can score on the first drive, right? That's confidence. They now know they can score on the last drive.
That is a very, very good point, Marky D.
And it was good. How good was it to see the Steelers go down the field with they used Connor Hayward, they used Warren, they used Najee, they used Robinson. The only guy they didn't use was Pickens. He was the only guy they didn't use, really.
Which is fine because they're not going to use, I said this in the takeaway shows, they're not going to be able to use every single guy every single game.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's good to be 5-3, and we're coming fifth. We're a fifth seed right now. I can't say that. We're 5 seed in the AFC right now. I'm pretty sure. Yes, we are.
Yeah, 100%. And we've got really good tiebreakers. Like right now, we've got a tiebreaker over the Ravens.
Yep. The only one we haven't got is Jags, but they'll probably win their divisions. That's fine. And maybe Houston, but if Houston falls, then they're going. So yeah, we have good
I struggle to see Houston. I struggle to see Houston. I think they're a good chance at trying to make
we're
the
the first wild card.
I don't think that. Yeah,
we're the first wild card because we're 5-3, and then it goes Bills and then Browns. And it's all going to play out, but we're the first wild card right now. It's not bad.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, look, the Steelers can do the same thing that they've done and be 10-6. They're in the playoffs. If they can win that extra game and they're they'll be 10-7. If they can be 11-6, mate, this is looking real good.
Yeah, and we should enjoy the win first of all because it's like victory Friday. Was that it?
We get a long weekend. We get to enjoy a long weekend with the Steelers. Not 4-4, 5-3. A good win over an AFC South opponent.
I can't imagine.
No other major, Holcomb obviously is a major injury. I shouldn't say that, but we get to go at, we get to enjoy a victory weekend with not my big fear was Kenny Pickett getting injured this game. That didn't happen. People got to be thankful for stuff, man.
I can't even imagine a world that if we would see a Steelers team that would be 1-7. I really can't. It'd be like the apocalypse.
You know what? I think some fans have a negative. It's almost like a negative fetish where they want the team to do badly. Like I think there are some fans out there that would get more enjoyment out of the 1-7. As effed up as that is to say.
I did see one of the comments on my page said they wanted the Titans to blow them up and blow them out.
But why? And how could you possibly say that and say you're a fan of the team?
I have no idea. I don't know. Like you and I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. We're not going to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning to see. And also, the season goes too quick. By the time it comes to the draft, we're going to wait like 6 months. I don't want to wait 6 months. I want to watch football now. So and also we can go back and watch the game. How good is it? It's going to be so fun to watch the game again. And
I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to put it on tonight. I'm going to watch it again. Yeah. I'm going to love it.
I'm going to love it.
I will.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know, man.
I might not love everything I say.
5-3, pack it up. Season's done. It's over.
I just think it's hard to understand.
I would hate to be a Cardinals fan going, what are these Steelers fans complaining about? They've only been to one Super Bowl in like 90 years, and here they are 5-3, and they're 1-6.
That's it.
Like it doesn't make any sense, man.
I just can't understand it. So it doesn't make sense to me. But with that, we are going to wrap up this week's Steelers Touchdown Under. Appreciate the live chat. You guys have killed it. I totally enjoyed this conversation. RB, you say it's very unlikely to go on a run just before I close out the show. Okay, well, we're doing it, man. I mean, we'll do it.
Yeah, that was a stat too. RB says here that the Steelers, that's it. Steelers have been outgained every game this season. The only team to ever do it was only team to do that was in 1933. It's us, have a winning record, right? So every other team has been in 8 games, and we haven't got any good stats. But at the end of the day,
It's not based on stats.
Yeah, they're talking about offense. On the other side, though, it's a football game. Football game gets played out. You play to win the game. Herm Edwards. So that stat, it doesn't bother me, that stat. And they got a winning record out of it too. And it's not. He says it's not sustainable. It's happened already, 5-3. How is that not sustainable? The body of work already.
It is
9 games.
Like the likelihood is it's not sustainable, but I don't. Again, it goes back to a narrative, and we're going to close out the show. But like, it goes back to a narrative that you and I have talked about before, which is the Steelers. You know, something can happen with the Steelers team that happens in a lot of sports teams. Do you know that you can improve as the season goes on? I'm not saying that directly at anyone necessarily in this live chat. I'm just saying, like, fans forget that there's actually improvement that can occur in games. Maybe the Steelers improve in the second half of the season. Who knows?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Hot take. The Steelers get better. Hot take, Matty. You can't be saying that, man. You can't be saying Steelers got to get better. You don't want to say that.
I know.
That's false news, man. That's fake news. You can't say that.
Yeah. Report me for misinformation.
I like how serious you were too. They can improve, you know. They're allowed to improve. Jeez,
it's true.
This is going to be a fun season. For me personally, I enjoy the season. I like it so far. Besides the injuries sucks because a lot of injuries happening, but I like the season. Kenny Pickett is playing well enough to win, and they're finding their identity. They're running the ball. They got 160 yards rushing the ball yesterday.
Well, I can't even say how happy I am about that. Like,
yeah, what are we're 5-3, mate. Like, we're good to go. We're more. Is it Maurice Pouncey or Maurice? Maurice, right?
I just want to let you just keep stuff.
Which one is he? Is he Maurice?
He's Maurice.
Yeah, Maurice Pouncey's number.
It's Maurice. I told you got to call him Maurice because that's what you said.
Is that? Well, we're his number, man. We're good to go. We're Kendrick Green's number. 5-3.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. It's still good. It's still good.
It's still good. I'm good. I feel, and 10 days off too. Even Cameron Hayward talked about it too. 10 days off. So
that's like the mini buy is huge, man.
Mm-hmm. And Green Bay comes to town. They're versing. Let me see before we join the show. Who are they versing this weekend? Not that it really matters too much. They are versing. Green Bay is not on a bye. They're versing LA.
Yeah, that'll be a tough game. Are they playing at home though?
Yes, at home. Yeah, two and they're coming off 2 games at home, then they verse us away.
Yeah.
So 2-5 they're on. And Jordan, maybe we should break down Jordan Love next week. Jordan Love is 11 TDs, 8 interceptions, 14 sacks.
But he's still better than Kenny Pickett.
Their rush game is awful too. AJ Dillon is 266 for 3.1 yards average, and only has 4 TDs. They're a pretty bad team as well. Come on, man. If Steelers are fresh in this game, they should be able to roll over them. Hopefully. So they've only got 4 TDs rushing, and they've got 11 TDs passing. So we'll see.
Pretty crazy, man.
Holy dooly.
All right, Marky D. Well, good show as always,
Great show.
mate.
Go Steelers. Here we go.